Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had an incredible week. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. And for those of you who are tuning in to the replay, on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube. Welcome. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks for those of you who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. I am in the Tampa Bay area of Florida today. And I don't know, I feel like the next couple of Tuesdays I'll probably be somewhere else because there's a lot of travel coming up here in the next couple of weeks for me. But for today, I am in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. So let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat, and welcome from San Francisco. Great to have you. South Carolina's in the house. Welcome. Two people from South Carolina, Chicago. We got a lot of Chicago people in here tonight. New York City, Virginia, Charlotte, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Alabama. Welcome, welcome. Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome, Ohio. Thanks so much for joining here. It is Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you're new to Mental Health Moment, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. It's all about how to become the best version of who you are so you can show up for yourself and show up for those around you. And someone said someone said I'm in the real Bay Area. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean because I'm in the Tampa Bay area, but if you're in the real Bay Area, okay, I'm not going to compete. So if you're saying San Francisco, it's all good. Shout out from Maryland. Welcome, welcome. Louisville is in the house. Chicago's here. Michigan, Sanford, Florida, Alabama. Welcome, welcome. Bermuda's in the house. Welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So last week, or these last couple of weeks, really, if you've been here for mental health moment, and if you do ever miss a mental health moment, you can always catch the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. But these last couple of weeks, we've really been talking, of course, all things wellness, how to become the best version of who you are. What do you need for yourself, right, to thrive? And one of the things we talked about lately is, like last week, what is your non-negotiable, right? What is it that is your go-to when it comes to self-care, when it comes to taking care of yourself, and the things that you put in place for you and the boundaries that you set for you, which are important for you to thrive. So I know many of you mentioned in the comment, and welcome for those still joining here. Many of you mentioned in the comment last week what those things were, which was amazing. And today, my question for you though, is when we think of those things, it's very important to us, but there's people around us sometimes that have different challenges. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe they have a mental health condition. And sometimes we try to help other people by placing our own values on them. But what works for us may not work for someone else, right? So let me know in the chat here. And Atlanta's in the house, Detroit, Mississippi, Oakland. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. But let me know in the chat if you have someone in your life, it may be a friend or family member, you don't have to say who has a mental health condition. So let me know in the chat, yes, if that applies to you, or no, you don't know anyone. So you can just put in yes or no. And I will share with you too. I also have family members and people that I know with different mental health conditions, right? It's a very common thing. There's millions and millions of people throughout the entire world who have mental health issues, conditions, all those sorts of things. So on today's mental health moment, we're going to talk about how do you support people in your life, whether it's a friend, family member, coworker, or whomever it is. How do you support other people in your life who have a mental health condition? And it may be someone that you're close to, or not so much, maybe someone you're distant with. So those are different conversations depending on how close you are to this person. And I see a lot of yeses in the chat. Yes, 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 yes. A lot of people. And I'm not surprised at all because, again, sometimes it feels like mental health is this thing that, sometimes we feel alone in whatever we're going through, or sometimes we think the people around us are the only people experiencing what they're going through. But the reality is, there are millions and millions and millions of people globally dealing with a lot of different mental health issues. So, yes, I'm not surprised to see your yeses in the chat. But I do want to share with you that it's really important to make sure, as I was stating before, for those of you just joining here, that the things that we put in place for our lives, whether it's your self care, whatever boundaries you set, that may not always work for the person that you're close to. So I know sometimes we may have something we're like, man, you should do this, right? And we try to tell this person whatever this thing is that we found that works for us, and they're not hearing it. And you may feel discouraged because you're like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to tell you some things that could work. But keep in mind, we're all individual people and not everything works. What works for you may not work for them. However, thanks to those who are still starting to join here. Florida's in the house, New York, Dallas, Fort Worth. Thank you so much for joining here. Today, we're talking about how do you support those around you. I see a lot of yeses in the chat. So how do you support those around you who may have a mental health condition or they're going through something? There's a lot of heaviness right now in the world. As we know, there's a lot happening in the world. So it's very heavy. Not to mention that we're still recovering from a lot of things that may have happened during COVID, many of us. So, and those around us. So the best thing you can do is really to think about, well, first you can ask the person how they want to be supported. Not everyone wants to talk about their problems, y'all. I know that's this being in the mental health field. I think there's almost misinformation, like just talk it out and everything will be fine. And it's like, well, yes, for some people that works great. But for other people, that may not be the way that works the best for them. But you can find ways, if they're open to even telling you, you can find other ways to support them. Meaning, if someone is struggling with depression and they're having a hard time, maybe taking care of their kids, they're having a hard time with cleaning, they're having a hard time getting places, or whatever it is that you may be able to, if this is a person that's close to you, help them with, that could be something that's helpful to them. For some of you who may be spiritual, if the person wants that, um, you can pray with them. If that's a part of your belief system, or pray for them. It doesn't even have to be with them, or other things that you can do, sharing resources. Again, not everyone is interested in the resources you're sharing with them, but some people are. So if you know someone that's good at, like, if you say, I know a good therapist, or I know a good coach, or I know someone who can help you, and the person is open to it, then share that information with them, right? But the goal is really and truly, we have to not minimize, because this is happening a lot. It's hard for me to see this as a psychologist over and over and over again. We are minimizing what people are going through, and people are struggling, right? You all, many of you said yes, 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 that you know people in the chat, right? So how can we be supportive to them? How can we have kindness? How can we have compassion? Again, they may not want to do the things think they should need to do, or could help them get better. But the best thing we can do is support them in the way that they need to be supported at that time. Someone said, take time away from work and family. I think probably you're saying, like, as far as, yeah, like self-care. And that's the thing. Someone said, be a good listener. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. However you can help this individual, sometimes people they just need you to listen, and they don't need any advice whatsoever. Sometimes they do need advice, right? Sometimes they need help in some other way that you can be helpful to them. Like I said, whether it's helping with kids or grandkids, or if it's helping with some a house thing, or spending time with them in certain activities, or whatever it is that you can do that for them is supportive of them, make sure you're in that role for them. Now, I know you're probably thinking, if you yourself are like, man, but Dr. Hammond, I'm so burnt out. I'm so stressed. I'm trying to work on my own well-being. Like, I don't have time or energy or whatever it is to help this individual. Do the best you can in the way that you can at that time. Number one, I always say this on Mental Health Moment for those of you who are new, make yourself your number one priority. You have to be taking care of yourself first. It is not a selfish thing to do. It's just, if if you're already at the point of burnout, or you feel like you're about to burn out, or you're so overwhelmed and you're so distressed, you have to work first on making yourself your number one priority, right? And then when you continue to thrive, when you continue to grow, then you're able to help other people in your life, right? Because sometimes we're just not always in a space to help people in the way that they need to be helped. But there's other people who can, right? So maybe if it's your family member, maybe there's another family member who can help during that time. Maybe if it's your friend, maybe there's another friend in your friend group who can help. Or if it's a coworker, whomever it is, like sometimes there's other people in your circle that can help to support you and help to support this person. Someone said, stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. That is a thing for some people. Absolutely. That causes a lot of distress, for some, family members and friends and people we know. It can cause a lot of depression, actually, and cause a lot of anxiety. But again, there's a lot of things that we don't know about people, right? I always preach this on Mental Health Moment, you all. What you see on social media is just a highlight reel. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know the reasons all the time why people do the things we do. So we have to what do the things they do. So we have to be careful of the judgment that we place. I don't know why they're doing this. Why are they feeling this way? How come they're depressed? How come they're anxious? Just get over it. It'll be fine. Like all those sorts of things are not helpful to people going through depression and anxiety and all the things they're going through, right? But instead, when we work on supporting them, we work on being kind, when we work on showing compassion, if you have resources to share that with this person, if they're open to hearing that, those are the sort of things that are helpful to them. Someone said, I've learned to be less judgmental. Yes. And it's easier said than done, right? We're all human, but sometimes some of you have gone through a journey. We're all on a different mental health journey. So some of you have gone on a journey, maybe purposely, I don't know. I'm not a higher power here, but that has given you more empathy for other people around you that are struggling with the same thing. Like it's a little bit easier to empathize, right? When you're like, man, I remember when I was going through this situation and now I see someone else going through it. But if someone else is in a situation that you have never even been through before, it's really, really important not to judge because you don't necessarily have the personal experience to really be in that person's shoe, right? And know, it's easy for us to say like we would never do this, or how come this is happening, or all those sorts of things. But the reality is we don't always know, especially if we've never been in those situations. So I love that. I love that you said, yep, someone else said no judgment. We are all just people. We absolutely are. Now, granted, I do want to say, yes, there's some extremely unhealthy uh like really terrible behaviors, right? That people tend to display at times, unfortunately. So that's a whole nother mental health moment that we did actually a while back about forgiveness and that sort of thing. But barring certain extreme behaviors, most of the behaviors that people have that we tend to judge, it's really hard to judge those things, because as I mentioned, most people, most of us included, and the people in our lives need the kindness, need the compassion, need the inspiration, need someone to just be like, hey, keep going, like, I got you, right? Someone said Tennessee's here. Ohio's in the house. Welcome. Greetings from South Carolina by way of Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome, welcome. Princeton, Texas in the house. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, someone said focus on your diet and your physical fitness. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Here's the thing too. You may know people. Again, we're talking today, for those of you joining here, how do you help someone else around you, whether it's a friend, family member, coworker, or whomever it is, who you can clearly see has, or maybe they've disclosed they have a mental health condition or mental health issues, or they're just struggling with life. How can you be supportive of them? And I love what some of you are putting in the chat here, like some of the things that you may be doing, which is not a wrong thing to try to say, hey, like, not, you can support people in a way without overly sharing your own values that may or may not be helpful to them. So for example, someone said in the chat, focus on your diet, focus on your physical fitness. If the person around you that is struggling, that's close to you, says, man, whatever it is, I can't get out of the house, I'm struggling, I know I need to work out, or whatever it is. And you can say, hey, let me take the time with you to go on a walk with you. If it's somebody close to you, and spend that time with them and encourage them on that walk. That is something, without you saying like, man, you really need to do this. You're spending the time to support them. If you have the time and the energy and you're close to them, right? You can spend that time doing that with them. That is an example of something that is supportive for this person. Someone else said, I'm speaking from a person who had to be perfect in the past. And that's another good example as well. Like, there's a lot of people around us that are struggling with anxiety. I've met a lot of people who are struggling with burnout, a lot of people, understandably, who are struggling with being overwhelmed, who are struggling with perfectionism. Like, those are real things. And you don't listen. I'm sharing this with you all today. I don't expect you all to be therapists. You don't have to be a therapist to help someone, right? You don't. For those of you who may feel like, man, I got to help this person, I have to cure them, I have to make everything better. You don't have to be a mental health professional. Like, you don't have to cure anything. You don't have to try to make someone else's problems go away. That's very unrealistic. But it's important for you to be supportive of them in the way they need to be supported, and also in the way that works best for you. However, you can support their decision to also go to a mental health professional or a coach or whatever other professional person that they need in their life. You can absolutely support that. Like, be there and be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, because of the stigma of mental health, don't support people in that way. I don't do therapy now at this point in my career. I did for a couple years at the beginning, 15 years ago, when I first started my practice. But I would remember there were times when I had clients coming in and they were like, I cannot tell my fill in the blank, my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, or whoever. Like, it was like a secret that they were coming in to the therapy session. I'm like, they're like, I can't tell anyone. And I'm like, well, I can't tell anyone either because I'm bound by confidentiality. So I'm not calling up any of your family members, right, to tell them you're here. But my point is that unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are struggling because there's still people that don't believe in therapy and don't believe in mental health and all these sorts of things. So if you can be like, man, champion someone, that is amazing. I'm biased because I'm in the mental health field, but I'm always championing people. People reach out to me all the time to get to a mental health professional because I know a lot of different mental health professionals throughout the country, and I'm doing my best to connect people with a therapist a lot of times. And I'm cheering people on. I'm like, that's a great idea. Like, better yourself. Yes. Get the help you need. If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, or whatever it is, get the help you need. So again, that is another way that you can be supportive of someone. You don't have to be their therapist, but you can just support their decision to reach out to a mental health professional. Like, that is so important, you all. So that's another way that you can be supportive of them. Someone said, Nashville's in the house. Welcome, Canada. Beautiful, beautiful. Yep. Someone said, ask them to join you on a walk or meditate together. Absolutely. There's God, there's so much, there's so many research studies, but the power of social support, like the power of the things seem simple to us sometimes, you all. When you, again, like someone said in the chat, you meditate with someone, or you take a walk with someone, or you just listen to someone, like, we take that for granted. You take for granted how much that means so much to someone else. And I can tell you, because I've talked to thousands of people throughout my career, that those little things matter so much. We're always that might be my next TEDx talk, y'all. No, we're always looking at the big things. Like, we always have to think about what huge intervention do we need to do, which are important things. Yes, the therapy is important, and the medication and whatever other things, very important. However, these little things that you do to support other people, I promise you, because I've talked to thousands of people and met them, it means so much. And for some, it is saving their lives, because people are hurting, they're in despair, they're depressed, they're anxious, they're feeling hopeless, like all these things. I've talked to thousands of people, you all, right? But your support, social support, there's plenty of research studies. I can tell you about all the people I talk to. The social support that you can offer is powerful. If you don't remember anything out of today's mental health moment, I want you to remember you supporting someone that is struggling in any way, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, is it is so much more powerful than you know. So I want you to remember that today. Um, Yep, yep. Someone said, Dr. Hammond, it's essential that we give pep talks. I love getting these from important people in my past. It's so true. Like who doesn't love that? Like, who doesn't love a pep talk? I love a pep talk. Right. But it just, the smallest thing, like when people reach out are like, hey, how are you doing? Right. Reaching out to someone, like saying, how are you doing? Sending a quick text, sending an email, calling, FaceTime, whatever it is that you're doing. But reaching out to people is so important. Saying, hey, like encouraging people, so important. If you're on social media with someone, congratulating them, whatever it is that they're going through, just the couple of words sometimes, like a small phrase can really change someone's day. So those are really important things. And thank you for sharing that. Someone said you got to set boundaries, all caps, boundaries. Yes, you absolutely, and you do. You have to set boundaries. I remember I had this one talk. I think it was in Texas, and someone asked me that question after my speech, after my keynote. They said, "What if, what if I'm just worn out? Like, what if I don't feel like helping anyone?" That was one of the ladies' questions in the audience, and I'm like, "Well, you can only do." You do have to set your own boundaries. So yes, I'm telling you today how to support people, but again, you have to make yourself your number one priority. You have to assess for you, which we talk about all the time on Mental Health Moment. You have to assess for you, where am I at? Like, how am I doing? Right? Because like I said, you may not always be in that space to be overly supportive, or you might be in that space. You might be like, you know what, I'm good. Like, I have the time, I have the energy, and whatever it is it can devote you can devote to that person. And you may not have to give 100%. You may not have that, but you may only have 20%. Something is better than nothing. So give in the way that you can. So thank you for saying that. Shout out from England. England's in the house. Hey, England. Um, I miss England. I need to go back there sometime. I have a friend out there. Um, and also a music therapist from Colorado. Welcome. Nutrition is the key for me. Absolutely. Super, super important. Yep. Someone said yes. In the past, it was always hush hush when it came to mental health. Absolutely. That is still a thing. Unfortunately, we're working on it. We're working on it. I think as a society, to make mental health okay. Like, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to share your feelings. It's okay that not every day is amazing. Like, those things are okay. Someone said exercise, good, healthy lifestyle, very important. There is far too much shame attached to getting help. There absolutely is. Again, and I wouldn't say just we mental health professionals, but as a society, I think we're doing better at working on reducing the stigma of mental health. It takes a lot of education, you all. It takes you all too, not just me being here on Mental Health Moment, but you with the people that you're around. Again, supporting people, supporting the idea that, you know what, it's okay to get help sometimes. It's okay to reach out to someone. If it's a therapist, if it's a friend, if it's a person at a place of worship, whomever it is, like, it's okay to talk to people about your problems. It's okay to get help and heal in the way that you need to. There's a lot of tons of different ways to heal, but it's okay to try those things. So, and some of you put in the chat, but someone said music is so powerful in therapy. If it's through music, if it's through art, if it's through retreats, if it's through therapy, like, I mean, there's so many ways to heal, right? But it's important for people to understand, for all of us too, that it's okay to heal, and it's a process. Yep. Someone said, learn to say no to something you don't want to do. Absolutely. New York City's in the house. Welcome. Mesquite, Texas. Welcome back. Okay. God has created us relational people, and having a sense of belonging. Absolutely. So important to listen to people. Yes. Um, Someone said disconnectedness is also the reason. Yes, your right. Social network is helpful. Community, acts of service, doing something vital in your life, all really, really important things. Connection is so powerful. I wish I could. It's so hard to express sometimes. Like, January, yeah, this upcoming January actually will be 15 years that I've been in private practice, and it's almost, I want to, which is probably why I'm writing my next book, but I want to, like, bottle up all of these conversations that I've had with people, and just the experiences, and just, if you only knew, like, connection is so so powerful, you all. It really just is. And I love that you said that. It absolutely is very true and very healing. Um, take ti Taking time out, self-care is so key. Absolutely. Someone said, "Yes, I love it when my friends from around the country or other parts of the world check in on me just to see how I'm doing. It's uplifting." It is uplifting. Like it really is. I had an interaction today actually. I'll be in Mexico in 2 days to speak out there at a conference, and anyhow, I was talking to someone about some logistics out there in Mexico, and we were just talking through WhatsApp. And what was fascinating was just, I mean, this just happened today, but she was just so kind. Like, you know how you have any conversation you have with like a customer service representative, whether it's on the phone or through chat or whatever it is, and you can just feel the person's energy, and they're just so kind to you, and like, thank you, Lord, right? Like, just thank you for being kind because it just made my day. And I'm like, yes, like we need more of this, right? Because how many of you have had that interaction with someone being kind again in some kind of customer service environment? And you're like, man, thank you for that. And then, of course, we have other experiences where people are not as kind, and we're like, why would say those things? But when you have the positive side of it and someone is kind, it makes you feel pretty good, and it is uplifting. So imagine again someone that going through a dark time in their life, and you reaching out to them, and you trying to uplift them, and you trying to inspire them. That goes a long way. Like that's going to matter to that person, and they're going to remember those things. So thank you for sharing that. Be sincere with your heart. People feel that. They absolutely do. Someone said, you have to be true to yourself. I'm not giving until I give out anymore. Yes. Yes. So again, give to the level that is healthy for you. That's a whole another mental health topic, because there is such a thing as giving too much. Giving is important, but we don't want to like over give and then your cup is completely empty, because then you can't help anyone anymore, right? Um, Absolutely. Someone said, thank you for talking about such an underrepresented topic. Mental health is dear to my heart. I would love to see more funding for mental health. Me too. Yes. A lot more funding for mental health. That would be amazing. But hopefully we're working on it. The best help is self-help. Family ties must be reinvigorated. It's helped me. Beautiful. Beautiful. And there is like there's like I said, there's so many ways to heal. There's so many ways to help people. If the person's a reader and they love to read self-help books, I know I do, you can recommend a book. If you know the person is open to therapy, you can recommend therapy. If the person's open to meditation, prayer, retreats, walking around a block, whatever it is, there's so many different ways to start to help people. And I hope that you think that, man, let me do a little something because it's better than nothing, right? Because we all sometimes some of us think in just these grand visions, like, oh, we have to, magically help this person and make all their problems go away. But the little things matter too. Faith, yes. Greetings from DC. Greetings. Welcome, Virginia. Recently, I've discovered saying no to phone calls. Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. Again, set your boundaries. We talked about that last week. Set your non-negotiables. For me, when it comes to notifications on my phone, I think I told you all last week, but I turned all of them off because years ago when I had notifications from social media and this and that and all these things, like my phone was just constantly going off and I couldn't concentrate throughout my day. So all my notifications are off, and I check email when I need to, and social media and all these sorts of things. But that's just a boundary that I had to set for me. Someone said traveling is therapeutic. I highly agree with that. Travel is therapy, is what I always say. Welcome from Chicago. Welcome. Keep your peace above all. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to wrap up today's mental health moment, but thank you guys for joining. Thank you for all your comments. Once again, remember, connection is powerful. So make yourself your number one priority. And also when you help people in that are going through whatever they're going through, mental health issues, dark time, mental health condition, whatever it is, remember the little things. I promise you, the little things you can do to support them, it really goes a long way. Connection is very powerful. So if you need me before next Tuesday, you can reach me, drnikishahammond.com. You can connect on Instagram, dr.hammond. You can connect on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think, no, it's called X now. I don't think I should say Twitter anymore, but you know what I mean. So all the social media channels, I'm on there. usually sharing something related to mental health, different resources that can help you, or a quote or something inspirational, because yes, I'm trying to just brighten the world a little bit, right? We all have to do what we can. Have an amazing week for you too. You're absolutely welcome. Welcome. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be well, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.